Hello, and welcome to Short Stories and More, where we read to you our coziest stories. This evening, we bring to you a story about finding love during Christmas time. So, hit the subscribe button, relax, and enjoy the story. A Belle, a Beau, and a Mistletoe by Chevette Cross. The holidays are always a magical time for Bellamy's family, a season filled with love, togetherness, and traditions passed down through generations. Her grandparents' timeless romance, sealed by a Christmas Eve proposal under the mistletoe, and her parents' similar journey of love are tales she knows by heart. Growing up, Bellamy dreamed of a love as special as her grandparents. But now, as an adult running a thriving gifting company, the magic feels more elusive than ever. As the holiday season draws near, Bellamy finds herself fully immersed in the demands of her business. Bellamy Rene Vincent is the proud owner of Wrap and Wander, a boutique gifting company nestled in the heart of New York City. This time of year marks her busiest season, with endless requests to curate bespoke gifts for an ever-expanding roster of clients, both corporate and personal. Professionally, everything is falling perfectly in place. Personally, however, her mother would argue that Bellamy has abandoned romance entirely. "Bellamy, darling, when will it be your turn?" her mother often asks during their frequent conversations, her tone warm with nostalgia, but tinged with impatience. "Your father and I just want you to experience what we have, what your grandparents had." "I know, Mom," Bellamy replies with a sigh, dodging the not-so-subtle hope for an imminent engagement. The day begins with its usual whirlwind: meetings, client calls, and team management. By noon, Bellamy manages to carve out time to meet her best friend, Sydney, for lunch at their favorite French brasserie. Steeped in Parisian charm, the restaurant greets them with the inviting aroma of French onion soup and perfectly grilled steaks. At their cozy table, they share updates on life and plan their annual waiting to exhale movie night while enjoying the cuisine and warm ambiance. After lunch, Bellamy throws herself back into work with her usual focus and determination. The day runs seamlessly until a sudden call from Mrs. Van Allen, one of her most valued VIP clients, interrupts her momentum. Mrs. Van Allen needs the perfect gift for her mother-in-law, and Bellamy immediately recognizes that only something truly extraordinary will meet the client's high standards. Determined to deliver, Bellamy sets out the next morning on a special mission to find the ideal present. Her journey leads her to the picturesque town of Nyack, a serene escape from the bustle of the city. As the Hudson River stretches out before her, its tranquil beauty brings a sense of peace. The town's quaint streets, dotted with charming shops, look as though they have been plucked from a holiday postcard. One store, in particular, catches her attention with its display of hand-engraved crystal ornaments and intricately designed candy dishes, a treasure trove of possibilities. As she reaches for a delicate mistletoe ornament that reminds her of her grandparents' love story, a voice startles her out of her reverie. "Excuse me, ma'am." Bellamy nearly drops the ornament, but a man steps forward and catches it just in time. "Can I help you with anything?" he asks. In her head, Bellamy thinks, "What a handsome, polite worker." When he repeats, "Can I help you with anything?" Bellamy snaps herself out of her thoughts. Bellamy, snap out of it, she tells herself. Gather yourself and act accordingly. Hello, yes, she says, regaining her composure. I'd like to speak with the owner of this establishment. He smiles and replies, Sure, come this way. Bellamy follows him to a small office where he gestures toward a chair. Have a seat, he says. She sits down, glancing at her phone as she waits, expecting an older gentleman to walk in. To her surprise, the same man returns and takes the seat across from her. How can I help you? He asks, his voice calm and confident. This is unexpected. Bellamy realizes she has just been introduced to Langston James, the owner of the business. She smiles politely and introduces herself. My name is Bellamy Rene Vincent, and I'm the owner of a gifting company called Wrap and Wander. I create and curate personalized gifts for clients. I'm here today because I have a VIP client who I think would absolutely love your works of art. That's different, he says. Bellamy blinks with confusion, her face clearly showing it. She can't help what her face does sometimes. He quickly apologizes. I didn't mean it in a bad way. I've never seen a sister own a gifting company before. Not that I didn't think it was possible, but it's a first for me. Understandable, she says, brushing it off. So, how did you get into the master craftsman field? It's a long story, he replies with a faint chuckle. Give me the abridged version, she asks. Well, he says, I went to school for architecture, but it didn't fulfill me. Long ago, my grandfather was a craftsman, and I was his little apprentice. That's the short version. Wow, what a great short story, she says, smiling as she shares a laugh with him. Then she confesses, I have to admit, I thought you were going to be an older gentleman. Oh, really? Wow, Langston replies, grinning. Yes, Bellamy says, shaking her head with a small laugh. Shifting back to business, she adds, I'd like to place an order for some of your engraved, hand-blown pieces. And who knows, maybe we can collaborate on more projects in the future. I'll be sure to leave my card with you. Of course, he says with a nod, his expression warm and professional. After finalizing the order, Langston mentions it will take 7 business days to complete. Let me know when it's ready, and I'll come to pick it up, Bellamy says, already planning ahead in her mind. Absolutely not, Langston teases playfully. I'll personally deliver it to your place of business when it's ready. Nice, Bellamy says, smiling back. Now that's how you do business. Langston hesitates for a moment before adding, maybe we can have lunch afterward. The unexpected invitation catches Bellamy off guard. Her brain stalls, and all she manages to say is, maybe. Excusing herself, she walks to the restroom to compose herself. That was weird. Does he think I'm weird? Gosh, I feel weird, she thinks. In the restroom, she stares at herself in the mirror, giving herself a quick pep talk. When she walks back out, she says, Yes, let's do lunch, handing him her business card. As she walks back to her car, she thinks to herself, I just might fulfill my mom's holiday request with the bare minimum, a boyfriend for Christmas. Bellamy is brimming with anticipation, constantly checking her phone, waiting for Langston to call. When the call finally comes, her heart skips a beat, until he requests an extension to perfect her order. Disappointment washes over her face, but she quickly masks it with understanding. Of course, she grants the extension. She knows the value of quality craftsmanship. But the thought of another week without seeing him leaves her feeling like a teenager crushed by unspoken longing. She sighs, determined to shake it off. Luckily, she is always prepared for unforeseen setbacks when curating gifts, thanks to her strong time management skills. The weekend, however, brings a much-needed distraction. Bellamy's annual Waiting to Exhale, pajama night with Sydney. This tradition is cherished. A night filled with laughter, heartfelt conversation, and the enduring power of a film that never fails to resonate with them. Bellamy takes charge of the food, while Sydney, the resident wine connoisseur, curates the perfect bottle for the evening. Sydney's wine expertise comes from a past romance with a sommelier whose family owns one of the few Black-owned wineries in the country. Sydney's stories of their vineyard adventures always transport Bellamy, painting vivid images of rolling hills and endless vines bathed in golden sunlight. Bellamy transforms her sunroom into a cozy boho retreat. String lights twinkle overhead like stars, casting a soft, soothing glow. An array of candles flicker, their flames dancing warmly around the room. She scatters plush floor pillows and oversized blankets, creating an inviting, whimsical vibe. In the center, she meticulously arranges trays and small tables adorned with an assortment of finger foods and snacks, ready for the night's festivities. Surveying the setup, Bellamy smiles with deep satisfaction. This isn't just a movie night. It's a pause, a time to connect and breathe amid the hustle of daily life. Moments later, Sydney arrives, and the two greet each other with a heartfelt hello and a genuine hug. They head to the sunroom and get comfortable, starting the movie with focused attention as if it's the first time they're watching it. Later that night, after the credits roll and the movie ends, Bellamy and Sydney fall into the familiar rhythm of endless conversation. The glow of candles surrounds them, and the wine they sip loosens the barriers that often keep hidden truths at bay. Feeling a surge of courage from the alcohol, Bellamy decides to bring up Langston. Sydney listens, her face thoughtful as Bellamy lays everything on the table, her feelings, her anticipation, and her fear of hoping too much. When Bellamy finally stops, Sydney leans back against the cushions, her voice steady but resolute. "Belle," she says, using the nickname only those close to Bellamy dare to use. "Belle, I feel like your heart's already set on this little rendezvous, and that's okay. But protect your heart and your peace." Her eyes meet Bellamy's with a seriousness she can't ignore. "Please, for the love of God, don't tell your mother. Her expectations will kill any relationship before it even has a chance to grow. Honestly, I'm surprised you're still holding up under all the pressure she puts on you." Bellamy nods silently, absorbing Sydney's words. Sydney has always been one to speak her mind, and while her honesty sometimes stings, it's exactly what Bellamy needs. Sydney continues, her words softening. "Look, I'm excited for you. Just have fun with it. Don't rush. Let fate take the wheel. What's meant to be will happen in its own time. Her words surround Bellamy like a soft blanket, comforting yet grounding. Soon, their conversation turns into murmured whispers as sleep begins to pull them under. They awake to the light of dawn spilling through the windows, savoring the morning with a leisurely breakfast. As they eat, they watch the sky gradually shift from shades of orange to mellow blues. By late morning, Sydney prepares to leave, and they exchange goodbyes, promising to catch up soon. The rest of Sunday finds Bellamy relaxed on the sofa, a throw draped over her legs, with Sydney's advice replaying in her mind. The words feel like a quiet mantra, repeating softly as she reflects on the weekend's conversation. Protect your heart and your peace, Sydney's voice echoes in her thoughts. For the first time in a long while, Bellamy feels a sense of calm brush over her. Enjoy yourself and stop overanalyzing. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. She lets herself melt into the cushions, pushing aside the usual worries about work, her family, and the pressure of expectations. Sydney's advice gives her permission to simply live in the moment, letting things evolve naturally. As the afternoon stretches into evening, Bellamy finds herself reflecting on the holiday season ahead, not with the usual sense of urgency or anticipation, but with a quiet sense of possibility. Maybe this year will be different. Maybe she can embrace the season for what it is, without trying to force anything to happen. The week begins with fantastic news. Rap and Wander lands a major corporate gifting contract, the kind of deal that feels like a sign from the universe, affirming all the late nights and unwavering dedication. Bellamy's grin is impossible to contain as she shares the news with Ivy, whose spirited demeanor brightens even further, her excitement lighting up the room. In the midst of their celebration, Bellamy's phone buzzes. A glance at the screen reveals her mother calling. Ivy, ever perceptive, recognizes the moment and makes a quick exit from the office, mouthing, "Good luck," as she closes the door behind her. "Belle?" Her mother's familiar voice comes through, bright and direct. "Your cousin Valencia is getting engaged over the holidays." "That's wonderful," Bellamy replies, genuinely happy for her cousin. "Yes, it is," her mother agrees, but then a pause hangs in the air, a loaded silence that Bellamy recognizes all too well. She braces herself, waiting for whatever comes next. "Belle," her mother begins again, her tone shifting to something slightly more pointed. Bellamy sighs quietly, steeling herself for what she knows will likely be another subtle or not so subtle nudge about her own love life. "I pray every night, hoping that God hasn't forgotten about you," her mother says, concern threading through her words. Bellamy feels the familiar pang of frustration rise. "Mom," she interjects with gentle firmness, "I really can't do this right now. I'm at work." Her mother hesitates on the other end of the line, and Bellamy softens her tone. "I'll call you later, okay?" "All right, but don't forget to call me back." As she ends the call, Bellamy takes a deep breath, trying to refocus her energy. With the increased budget from the new contract, Bellamy sees an exciting opportunity to plan a far more elaborate office party for the holidays. The extra funds not only mean a grander celebration, but also give her the chance to provide more thoughtful, personalized gifts for the team. Inspired by the prospect of creating a memorable experience, Bellamy envisions the office filled with joyful cheer, decorations that capture the festive spirit, and gifts that reflect her gratitude. She is determined to make this season unforgettable for everyone at Rap and Wander. For the first time in a long while, Bellamy feels the spirit of the holidays slowly making its way back to her. While brainstorming party ideas, Bellamy receives a call from Langston. "Hi, Bellamy. I have your order ready. Would Friday be a good day for you?" Her heart skips a beat, but she keeps her voice poised. "I think so. Let me check my calendar. Yes, I do. I mean, Friday works for me." "Great," Langston says with an easy smile. "Let's aim for 11 a.m. at your office. Afterwards, we can grab lunch. Is there a place you'd like to go?" She pauses, not wanting to overthink it. "Not really. I'll let you decide." "All right," Langston replies. "What kind of food do you like, aside from the usual?" Without much thought, she blurts out, "What about Afro-Asian fusion?" "Sounds perfect," he says enthusiastically. "I'll find a place and make the reservation." "Great," she replies, doing her best to contain her anticipation. "I'll see you then." Friday morning arrives, and Bellamy stands in front of her closet, carefully selecting the perfect outfit for her meeting with Langston. Her nerves buzz as she sifts through her wardrobe, searching for the ideal balance between polished professionalism and effortless charm. She ultimately chooses a sleek, tailored jumpsuit paired with her favorite nude heels. She accessorizes with minimalist gold pieces, just enough to add a touch of elegance without going overboard. Standing in front of the mirror, Bellamy takes a deep breath, smoothing out any imaginary wrinkles while adjusting her hair for the final touch. "This will do," she whispers. Satisfied with her look, she grabs her Chanel bag, slinging it over her shoulder before heading for the door. With a final glance in the mirror, she takes one last breath and makes her way to work, a sense of eagerness bubbling beneath her confident exterior. Bellamy reaches the office around 8 a.m., well before most of the team. The quiet of the morning allows her to concentrate, and she manages to get 2 solid hours of work done. Despite her productivity, the morning feels like it's dragging. The final 30 minutes stretch on forever. She catches herself checking her reflection more than usual, reapplying her lipstick and adjusting her makeup repeatedly, even though it looks perfect every time. Ivy walks in during one of these moments and pauses, her sharp gaze taking in Bellamy's polished appearance. She hums, one eyebrow arching knowingly. "What's that for?" Bellamy asks, trying to sound innocent. Ivy crosses her arms, giving Bellamy a look that says she sees right through her. "You cleared your calendar. You've got a full face of makeup, and you're rocking that outfit with those heels. Not your usual comfy yet stylish vibe. Should I even bother guessing? Or do you want to just confirm it for me?" Bellamy blinks, stunned at how well Ivy reads her. It feels like she's under a spotlight in an interrogation room. "Fine. Yes, it's true. It's for Mr. James." Ivy smirks, clearly pleased with herself. "Oh, nice. Have fun. You look great, by the way." Thanks," Bellamy replies awkwardly, unsure how else to respond. At exactly 11 now, Ivy returns to Bellamy's office with a certain air of ceremony. "Mr. James is here to see you," she announces, her expression a little too sly as she steps aside to let him in. Langston walks in, looking just as handsome as the first time Bellamy met him, if not even more so. His presence fills the room, his smile putting her at ease while making her heart race. "Good morning, Bellamy," he says warmly. "Good morning, Langston," Bellamy replies, her voice steady, but her excitement bubbling beneath the surface. She knows this meeting is just the beginning of something unforgettable. Langston presents the box containing the hand-blown gifts for Mrs. Van Allen's mother-in-law. The items are breathtaking, meticulously crafted and smooth to the touch. Their timeless design exudes class. Bellamy admires the pieces, praising his work. "Mrs. Van Allen is going to be very pleased with these gifts," she says, genuinely impressed. "You're very welcome," he replies. "Are you ready to go?" "Yes, let's head out," she says. Bellamy has arranged for a car service to take them to the restaurant, ensuring they can sit in the back and talk without distractions. Langston keeps the destination a secret, speaking quietly with the driver about the details. The mystery only piques Bellamy's interest. To her delight, they pull up to one of the Afro-Asian fusion restaurants she has been longing to try. Langston remembers her suggestion, making the gesture all the more thoughtful. The hostess welcomes them and leads them to their table, nestled in a cozy corner of the chic, well-decorated restaurant. The atmosphere is lively yet intimate, the fusion of cultures evident in both the decor and the menu. Their waiter introduces himself, hands them the menus, and highlights the specials of the day. "What would you like to drink?" the waiter asks. They both order hibiscus lemongrass iced tea, along with 2 glasses of water. For starters, they choose jollof rice spring rolls and Korean barbecue suya skewers. The dishes arrive promptly, beautifully plated and bursting with flavor. The spices and seasonings dance on their palates, a perfect prelude to the main course. Lamb with sticky rice and grilled plantains. Each bite is a harmonious blend of sweet, savory, and smoky notes, making for a memorable culinary experience. The conversation flows naturally between them. Langston's charisma makes him easy to connect with, and it feels as though they've known each other for years. The hours seem to fly by, vanishing in mere minutes. When the waiter asks if they want dessert, they both instantly decline. "I can't eat another bite," Bellamy admits with a giggle. "Same here," Langston agrees, leaning back in his chair with a satisfied look. They wish the day could last forever, but Langston needs to return to Nyack, and Bellamy has a mountain of work waiting for her at the office. With a gentlemanly gesture, Langston pays for the meal, and they make their way back to the car, still basking in the joy of the afternoon. When they arrive at her office building, Langston and Bellamy linger by his car. "Can I call you? FaceTime you? See you again soon?" he asks, his tone hopeful. "Yes," Bellamy replies, feeling her cheeks flush. "To all of the above." "Good," Langston says, visibly pleased. "May I have a hug?" "Yes, you may," she replies. They embrace, neither of them wanting to let go. As Langston drives away, Bellamy watches until his car disappears into the distance. Back in the office, Ivy is waiting for her, wearing a naughty smile. "How was lunch with Mr. James?" Ivy asks, her voice laced with intrigue. "It was great. Thank you very much," Bellamy replies, a look of satisfaction gracing her lips as she reclines into her chair. Bellamy quickly shifts to work, briefing Ivy on pending tasks. She displays the luxurious wrapping paper she has selected and explains, "We need to arrange a meeting with Mrs. Van Allen. Once we get her final approval, you can take the gifts to the wrapping studio." "Got it," Ivy replies, jotting down notes as they walk. With most of the responsibilities addressed, Bellamy tells Ivy she can wrap up for the day. "You can head out early," Bellamy says. Ivy grins, clearly pleased with the unexpected early finish. Meanwhile, Bellamy stays behind to finalize some details and oversee the cleaners before locking up for the evening. Once everything is in order, she arranges for the car service, and it soon arrives to take her home. Feeling uplifted, Bellamy decides to call her parents to check in. Her dad answers, but her mother quickly takes the phone from him. "Belle, honey," her mother begins, "I went to this gala a few days ago and sat next to Senator Butler's wife. And guess what? Her son is single and following in his father's footsteps. Well established," her mother adds, clearly proud of the prospect. She even gushes about the idea of Bellamy one day becoming First Lady. Her mother casually hints at setting her up on a date with the senator's son. Frustration rises within Bellamy. It's exhausting how her mom's mindset remains so misguided. She bites her bottom lip, struggling to keep her anger in check. Bellamy responds diplomatically, explaining that a blind date wouldn't be the best idea at the moment due to her hectic work schedule. "Well, when will it be a good time?" her mother insists. Pivoting quickly, Bellamy launches into a detailed account of her workload, emphasizing how running her business leaves little room for anything else. She lists every possible excuse, hoping to steer the conversation away from the dreaded matchmaking. Just as her mother is about to press the issue further, her mother notices another call coming in and responds curtly, "We'll discuss this later," before abruptly ending the conversation. Bellamy exhales in relief. After the stressful encounter, Bellamy snuggles under a cozy blanket and unwinds for a binge session of her favorite show. Just as the plot thickens, her phone buzzes, lighting up with Langston's name. Her heart races as she answers. "Hello?" Anticipation dances in her voice. "Hi, Bellamy," Langston begins. "I just want to tell you that I had an amazing time with you today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did." "Of course I did," she answers affectionately. From that night on, Langston and Bellamy become nearly inseparable. Weekends become a shared rhythm, alternating between the city and Nyack, filled with deep conversations, meaningful exchanges, and the simple joy of being together. Their connection deepens with each passing moment. Now that their relationship is official, Bellamy and Langston forge their own path. Both feel ready to embrace the journey that lies ahead. Bellamy is eager to share this new chapter with her mother. However, her mother lives by a strict set of rules and standards passed down through generations. Of course, she expects Bellamy to do the same, follow her lead, stay under her guidance, and align herself with the traditions of their family's status. In her early 20s, Bellamy's perspective begins to shift. She meets new friends who embrace a freedom and independence she has never experienced. They make their own choices, forge their own paths, and appear genuinely happy doing so. Bellamy finds herself admiring their sense of autonomy. It's not that she loves her mother any less. She's simply come to realize her desire to chart her own course. The adjustment isn't easy. Her mother still holds significant influence, but Bellamy learns to choose her battles carefully, standing her ground when it truly matters. A major challenge in Bellamy's life is navigating her mother's high expectations, especially regarding relationships. Her mother has always been vocal about the kind of man Bellamy should marry. Someone from a wealthy family, with a high-status career, impeccable manners, and a polished appearance. To her mother, the man in Bellamy's life isn't just a partner. He's a reflection of the family and their legacy. Her mother's personality is strong-willed and commanding, reminiscent of Marion Gilbert from A Different World. A woman who takes pride in tradition and social standing, sometimes to an overwhelming degree. Bellamy's budding relationship with Langston brings all these issues to the forefront. Langston is kind, ambitious, and full of potential. But he doesn't check all the boxes on her mother's unwritten list. Bellamy worries her mother will see him as not good enough, a thought that fills her with anxiety. Despite this, she's determined to bridge the gap between the two worlds she occupies. The one where she follows her own heart, and the one where her mother's approval still looms large. Bellamy knows introducing Langston to her mother will test them all, but she's willing to take that step. She believes in Langston and hopes her mother will see what she sees in him, a man of value and integrity, even if he doesn't perfectly fit her mother's vision. It's a gamble, but a risk she feels is worth taking. One evening, Bellamy calls her parents to share the news. Her mother answers the phone, and Bellamy hesitates for a moment before speaking. "Mom, I want to let you know that I've met someone, and we're dating." "His name is Langston," Bellamy says, her voice steady but filled with a hint of nerves. Her mother's response is immediate and sharp. "Tell me everything." Bellamy takes a deep breath and begins. "Well, he lives and works in Nyack as an artisan." Her mother cuts her off, her tone laced with disbelief. "Isn't that the same as a craftsman?" she asks, disgusted. "I know I taught you better, Belle." Bellamy's heart sinks. She wants her mother to listen, to understand that Langston is more than just his job title. He's a good person, kind, hardworking, and sincere, but her mother isn't making it easy. Despite the tension, Bellamy remains calm and continues. She tries to explain that Langston's character is what matters most to her, not his status or profession, but her mother is focused on something else. After a brief silence, she suggests they meet in person. "I think we should meet him," her mother says, her voice softening slightly. "I'm willing to travel to Nyack from Connecticut to see for myself." Bellamy is taken aback, but agrees to the idea. "I'll talk to Langston and let you know," she replies, feeling a mix of relief and apprehension. After the call ends, Bellamy immediately calls Langston. She explains the situation, and without hesitation, Langston agrees to meet her mother. In fact, he seems excited about it. "I'll reserve a spot for us to dine," he says. "We'll make a good impression." Bellamy thanks Langston for his support, feeling grateful for his willingness to go along with it. It's a significant step, but she remains hopeful. Two weeks before Christmas, on a beautiful Saturday morning, Bellamy travels to Nyack for her parents to meet Langston. She arrives early, wanting to enjoy some time alone with him. She reassures Langston that she will always stand by their relationship and the bond they've built. When her parents finally arrive at Langston's home, everyone is polite, though the tension is palpable. Bellamy introduces her parents to Langston, and together they head to the restaurant. The waiter escorts them to their table, but the silence in the air is thick and uncomfortable. It's clear they need an icebreaker. The stillness is so intense, it feels like you could hear a pin drop. In an attempt to ease the tension, Bellamy asks her parents how the drive was. "It was good," her dad replies, his tone neutral. Her mother, however, gives Langston a cold, assessing look, one of her classic intimidation tactics. As they wait for their food, her mother begins questioning Langston about his background, his family, his education, and his career choice. She seems dissatisfied with every answer, her expression growing more disapproving with every response. Thank goodness the food is brought out just in time, giving them a welcome distraction and allowing them to eat in relative peace. Bellamy observes that her dad and Langston are having a friendly conversation, and she can't help but notice how it seems to upset her mother even more. Feeling the tension building once more, Bellamy turns to her mom and quietly pleads, "Please, Mom, can you just be nice?" After they finish eating, Bellamy's mother can no longer hold her tongue. She turns to Langston, her voice sharp and condescending. "You're just not good enough for my daughter," she says, her tone biting. Her eyes narrow as she adds, "I won't stand for this." Bellamy's heart sinks as she feels the tension in the air, her gaze catching the hurt in Langston's eyes. She turns to her dad, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, Dad, talk to Mom," she pleads, her concern for Langston evident. She can see the embarrassment and hurt on Langston's face, knowing her mother's harsh words have taken a toll on him. Her dad, though clearly uncomfortable, apologizes to Langston. Langston, however, shows remarkable restraint. Bellamy turns to him, trying to offer comfort. "Do you want to leave?" she asks gently. Langston hesitates, then delivers words that cut to the bone. "Yes, but I'll leave on my own," he says, his voice calm and unwavering. The sting of his words hits Bellamy hard, but she understands. She feels the weight of the moment. His pride is hurt, and he needs space. Langston walks away, and Bellamy, her parents in tow, gets into her father's car. She can't hold back any longer. The instant Langston is out of earshot, Bellamy spins toward her mother, fury lacing her words. "Mom, I've always tried to give you the benefit of the doubt," Bellamy starts, her voice quivering with emotion. "Over and over, I've given you the chance to show understanding and compassion for the people I care about, but you keep letting me down. Langston is good to me. He treats me with respect, no matter his background or status. And yet, you still can't accept him. I can't keep doing this. I just can't." Tears well in Bellamy's eyes, and before she can stop herself, they start to fall. "This is too much to bear," she whispers, her chest tightening with the weight of it all. "Dad, please, just drop me at my car," Bellamy says softly, her voice breaking. Her dad, still silent, pulls the car over to where Bellamy's car is parked. He gets out, walks over to her, and pulls her into the tightest hug. "I'm sorry, Bellamy," he says quietly, his voice thick with regret. "I apologize for both myself and your mother. Things are going to change. You love who you love, and I'll support you." She clings to her dad, his words offering her a sliver of comfort amidst the turmoil. "Text me when you get home," he remarks, his words soft yet steadfast. "Please, let me know you're okay." Bellamy nods, grateful for his support, even if the road ahead still seems uncertain. Once in her car, Bellamy sits in silence, staring at the empty road ahead. She waits, hoping Langston will show up, but he doesn't. She sends him a text, but there's no reply. Minutes stretch into what feels like hours. Finally, her phone buzzes with a message. It's from Langston. "Head home. I'll call you later." Bellamy's heart drops, and she lays her head on the steering wheel, disbelief weighing down on her like a heavy fog. She wipes her eyes and takes a deep breath to collect herself before starting the car and driving home. When she returns home, all she can think about is Langston. She longs to hear from him, to know he's okay. She calls and leaves him a message, then sends a text, hoping for some response. Waiting to hear back is punishing, each minute feeling like an eternity. Bellamy thinks about Sydney's advice and how right she has been. She wants to call her, but decides against it. She doesn't want to hear Sydney say, "I told you not to tell your mother." With Christmas just a week away, Bellamy knows she still has work to do. She has to push through the hurt and pain to keep her business running smoothly. On top of that, she must maintain a sense of normalcy, careful not to let Ivy see how she's really feeling. Mrs. Van Allen's gift returns from the gift wrap studio, exquisitely wrapped in elegant paper, adorned with ribbons, bows, greenery, and tiny gold bells. A personalized card accompanies it, all ready for delivery. The week passes quickly, and before Bellamy knows it, Friday arrives, the day of the much-anticipated Christmas party. She can hardly contain her excitement as she gets ready for the event. With the team's gifts and their holiday bonuses in hand, she heads to the beautifully decorated venue, where the festive atmosphere fills the air. As the party kicks off, Bellamy gathers everyone for a heartfelt speech. Holding a glass of sparkling cider, she stands before the room, ready to speak from the heart. "I want to thank each of you for your hard work and dedication this year. You've made this an extraordinary year for the company, and I couldn't ask for a better team. Tonight is about celebrating everything we've achieved together. It's so important to take moments like these to share a meal, laugh together, and enjoy each other's company. You're not just my team, you're family. I'm grateful for all of you. Here's to a fantastic year and many more to come." A round of applause erupts as Bellamy raises her glass, and the room buzzes with excitement. The holiday music fills the room, and the festivities truly begin. Everyone enjoys the delicious spread of food, mingling and laughing as the night progresses. After the meal, they dive into games that leave everyone in stitches, from holiday trivia to a hilarious white elephant gift exchange. Then comes the moment everyone has been waiting for: gifts. The joy on Bellamy's team's faces as they unwrap their presents and receive their bonuses is priceless. Some cheer, others hug her, and a few even get teary-eyed. Their sincere gratitude makes the gesture all the more meaningful. They dance the night away to a lively playlist, with laughter and joy filling the room. Bellamy has made sure to arrange designated drivers for anyone who needs them. A thoughtful detail that allows everyone to relax and enjoy the night responsibly. As the party nears its end, Bellamy is pleasantly surprised when Langston suddenly appears. Seeing him walk in feels like the perfect end to the night, and it brings a wave of emotion. Tears of joy well up in her eyes. He approaches her with a warm smile, helps her gather her things, and sweeps her into the crisp night air. Bellamy slides into the passenger seat of Langston's car, her gaze fixed on him. She mouths, "I'm sorry," and he softly takes her hand, pressing a gentle kiss to it. "No need to apologize, Bellamy," he reassures her. On the ride home, Langston explains that her father reached out to him, and they met to sort things out. Bellamy is stunned when he tells her that, to her surprise, her mother actually made amends. "She didn't want to lose you," Langston says softly. Bellamy meets his gaze, her voice wavering. "I thought I lost you." "Never," he answers, his tone calm and deeply reassuring. "I'm yours, always." They spend the weekend together, cherishing every moment as if it is a precious gift. Each shared experience, from quiet morning tea to leisure walks in the park, becomes a celebration of their renewed connection. Bellamy treasures every second, keenly aware of how fragile their bond seemed just days ago. The weekend serves as a testament to the love they share and the enduring strength they draw from one another. Realizing their time apart from the world must end, Langston reluctantly departs for Nyack, carrying with him Bellamy's heartfelt promise to join him on Christmas Day. With only one day left before Christmas, Bellamy gives her team the day off. She plans to work a half day herself before traveling to Connecticut. The quiet of the office gives her the space to finalize the last tasks, her thoughts already drifting to the holiday and the time she'll spend with Langston. All the client gifts are successfully delivered, bringing a close to a busy but rewarding season for the business. Bellamy leans back in her chair, a sense of elation settling over her. The pressure of the holiday rush is finally behind her, and with everything on her to-do list crossed off, she can now turn her attention to the days ahead. As Bellamy prepares for her trip to Connecticut, a pang of guilt hits her. Christmas has always been important to her mom, and while Bellamy has spent the entire holiday with her in the past, this year feels different. She has promised herself and Langston that she won't let her mom control her choices. Her mom will have Christmas Eve and morning, but Bellamy plans to leave soon after to spend the rest of the holiday in Nyack with Langston and his dad. It's a delicate balance, but she is determined to honor her commitment to herself and her relationship. When Bellamy breaks the news to her mom, disappointment is clear on her face. Her mom sighs deeply. "I'm trying. I really am." "I know, Mom," Bellamy says gently, "and I appreciate the effort. It means a lot." Bellamy remains cautiously optimistic about her mom's few days of therapy. Though it's still early, she hopes it will lead to positive changes in their relationship. For now, she focuses on moving forward with her own life, determined to continue building a future with Langston and finding peace in her own journey. Bellamy's time in Connecticut proves to be better than she expected, and by Christmas afternoon, she's ready to head to Nyack. The drive is soothing, with the wintry landscape blending into a blur of whites and grays beyond the window. When Bellamy arrives at Langston's home, she finds him waiting on the front porch, bundled tightly in a coat and scarf. The sight of him fills her heart with warmth. Inside, Langston's dad welcomes her with a broad grin. "So, this is the woman who's been keeping my son on his toes," he says with a chuckle. Bellamy laughs, her nerves easing instantly. Langston's dad exudes charm and a quiet wisdom that makes the room feel inviting and serene. For the rest of the day, Langston and Bellamy talk, laugh, and bask in each other's company. As evening falls, they exchange gifts by the softly flickering fire, the warm glow casting a golden hue over the room. After Bellamy unwraps her final present, Langston smiles mischievously and says, "There's one more surprise." Intrigued, Bellamy raises an eyebrow, and Langston gently takes her hands. "Close your eyes," he whispers. She does as he asks, her heart fluttering with anticipation. He reaches into a small box, pulls out a sprig of mistletoe, and carefully holds it above them. "Okay, open your eyes," he says tenderly. As she sees the mistletoe, her breath catches and her eyes glisten with emotion. Touched by the simple yet thoughtful act, tears fill her eyes. Gently brushing a tear from her cheek, he holds her gaze with a deep, constant intensity, as if memorizing every detail of the moment. "Merry Christmas, Bellamy," he says, his voice full of tenderness. Under the mistletoe, they share a passionate kiss that feels like the beginning of their love story. For Bellamy, it's a memory she knows her late grandparents would have adored, a blessing from the past for her future. Later, they curl up together by the fire, Bellamy resting in Langston's arms. The comforting sounds of the crackling wood fill the room as they lie in peaceful silence, wrapped in love and the magic of the season. The end. We hope you enjoyed this story. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. We love hearing feedback. Leave us a comment below on what you liked most. Until we read again, stay cozy.